So we're kind of in the middle of the summer right now, and this is a time where it's busier than most other times of year. Not all other times, but most other times. And so of course, we're not only seeing a lot of heavy crowds, but you're gonna be starting to see some days where Disneyland is reaching capacity. And you could sit there and feel like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to be able to do? There's nothing, it's too many people, but you can get some stuff done, and it can still be an enjoyable day as long as you kind of have some idea of what you should do to get around the park on those days. So I want to go over some simple tips to help you get through very crowded days, and especially days at capacity at Disneyland. Now, this is especially poignant since tomorrow, Tuesday, the 17th of July, is Disneyland's birthday. And that day, more than a lot of others in the summertime, tends to reach capacity or at least get severely crowded. But of course, you'll also see these sorts of days other times of the year, especially around the holidays. Sometimes you reach a day where it reaches capacity and no one expects it. I've had several of those. So how can you get around that? Well, the first thing I'd say is that you guys know from so many things that I've done, you really should get to the park first thing in the morning. If you're there first thing in the morning, you're already there a few hours before all the crowds start showing up, and so you can get a lot done in that short period of time before it really gets crazy. So I would say that you should be doing that anyway. Utilize fast passes. Get as many fast passes as you possibly can. Get your next fast pass as soon as you can get your next fast pass. And this is one day where I really would recommend Max Pass. You guys know that I don't necessarily always hardline say you should get Max Pass. Days where it's at capacity, you really should. Partially because you don't have to walk across the park to get your next fast pass, but also partially because the maximum wait time you have before you can get your next one is 1.5 hours instead of 2 hours. So you could theoretically get more fast passes in a single day. So use those fast passes as much as you possibly can because it will help. Another thing that can be kind of helpful is to try and go on rides during meal times, common meal times. So if you're trying to go on rides like noon or 5, 6 o'clock sort of times, there's a lot of people that are actually trying to eat. And so there won't be as many people in the lines. And so it can help. If you're willing to eat your own meals at less common times, you can kind of get on rides with a little bit less of a wait time. You also want to give yourself a little bit more time to get from point A to point B. A trip that might only normally take you 5 to 10 minutes to walk could take you 15 to 20 minutes or more to travel on capacity days. This is partially because there are so many people you have to get through, but also partially because cast members will start to create one-way systems through the park. This keeps traffic flowing, so it is a good thing, but they can be inconvenient and can take you more time to get where you need to go. I know, it's frustrating, but if they weren't there doing this, traffic wouldn't move at all, so at least you're still moving. But just plan out a little bit more time. You'll also want to really consider what your plans are for the rest of the day. What do you want to try and see and do? Is there a parade during the day that you really want to see at Disneyland, or are you planning on seeing the fireworks? If the answer is yes to either of those questions, you may want to just stay in the park and not take a chance on leaving. Because if you leave, you may not be able to get back in, or it may take you far too long to get back in. So if it's like early afternoon and you want to see the afternoon parade, stay in Disneyland. If it's already kind of later at night and you want to see the fireworks, stay in the park. If it's mid-afternoon and you know you want to see the fireworks, but you don't really want to deal with all those crowds during the day and you have nothing else that you really feel like, oh, we have to do this now, feel free to leave. You can go back to your hotel, you can shop in downtown Disney, you can go over to California Adventure, which rarely reaches capacity, and that'll be fine. Just give yourself plenty of time to try and get back in the park. Like say the fireworks start at 9:30. Don't be at the gates any later than like 8, just in case. Usually there's no problem, but you never know. So just give yourself a little bit more time. But don't feel like you're stuck in the park permanently. If you have a lot of time, leeway, feel free to leave. The last thing I would really say, make sure that you have a good attitude. It is so easy to get so frustrated and just have such a stressful day when you're there and there's so many people and the park has reached capacity and it just feels like there's wall-to-wall crowds. It's so easy to just ruin your own day by having a horrible attitude. Try to be as positive as you can. Try not to jump down people's throats. Try not to have a short fuse. Just try to stay positive and realize you can get a lot accomplished on those days. You really can. Not as much as on other days, but you can still have a lot of fun. So don't get frustrated in yourself. Don't get frustrated at the park. Don't get frustrated the day. Don't get frustrated at the cast members, because that will just ruin their day and yours. So try to stay as positive as you can. It may sound stupid and may sound difficult to do, but it makes a big difference, honestly. So those are just a few ideas to help you out on days when it reaches capacity. There are lots of other things that you can do. There are some things that are tried and true. There are some things that are just, some people prefer one thing over the other. So it all really is up to you. These are what we like to do when the days reach capacity, and it helps us quite a bit. So hopefully it helps you guys out. Well, that's it for this week. So let us know again if you have any questions, if you have any other requests for some more videos. I do have some requests that I am trying to work on. Just need to find the time and sometimes some footage to get that together, but keep sending those requests because I actually really appreciate them. And until then, make sure you follow us on other social media, and we will see you guys next week. All right, bye.